Joining me now from Washington is Clifford May. He is president of the Foundation for the Defense of Democracies. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
So Prime Minister Cameron's saying that the Islamic State terror threat is deeper than before, highest level in 3 years. So what does that mean?
Well, it means that we have a terrorist organization, an organization that proclaims itself to be fighting jihad against the West, holding about as much territory right now as Belgium, say. They are administering this territory. They are recruiting fighters from around the world, not least from the UK, from Europe, from the United States, from Canada. And they mean to do a great deal of harm, and they are doing a great deal of harm to minority populations, to those they see as their enemies who are Muslims but are disobedient. This is one of, I would say, many jihadi threats that have arisen over recent years around the world, and it is, I think Prime Minister Cameron is quite right to say that this is going to be a very long-term threat, and we need to do a lot more than we've done to figure out how we are going to contain, degrade, and eventually defeat this threat.
Was there a particular incident, do you think, that prompted this action?
Well, what I think we've been hearing is that the British are very concerned that something like 500 British Muslims have gone off to fight in Syria and Iraq for ISIS, for the Islamic State. And perhaps half of those, 250 or so, have returned. That means there's a threat that they will engage in terrorist activities, or they will recruit others to engage in terrorist activities on British soil, or they will simply inspire others to do so. It's not easy to watch 250 people in perpetuity for as long as possible, and with more possibly to come. Now, what the British authorities are saying is that no threat is imminent, but because they don't see any imminent threat doesn't mean there isn't one. It means they are very concerned that ISIS is going to be, sooner or later, export terrorism to Europe or, again, to other countries around the world.
Mr. Cameron also announced plans for legislation to deal with increased security threats posed by homegrown militants. So what type of new powers will be introduced, do you think?
It's not entirely clear at this point. One thing that you've seen in the past is the power to detain somebody and hold them for a reasonably long period of time, even if you don't have probable cause of a crime that has been committed or is imminently about to be committed. I would think that you would want to discuss in such legislation what is allowed, not just in terms of holding, but in terms of interrogation. What methods are permissible and what are not. This has been a controversy, of course, very much in the United States. It remains a controversy. When you're not talking about garden variety criminals, you're talking about terrorists and would-be terrorists. How much can you do in order to try to elicit information that will save lives from them? And then there's the various crimes that they may be prosecuted for, and the kinds of penalties you would have. I don't think we know a great deal about this at the moment, but we kind of know what controversies this has stirred in the past, and it's always, I guess, a matter of balancing security with various civil rights.